Here we go. What is happening? There we go. We on. I haven't done this for a while. It's been too long. How are we all? As if some of you didn't realise what we're doing, I'm going live. I'm bringing on Michael Zerafa, the pretty boy. So that's going to be good. Good chats. He'll be coming on any second. So we're going to be talking boxing, UFC, MMA. We've got yous doing a Q&A. I can see all your comments, so I'll know what yous are saying. If yous want to ask questions, we'll try and get them in on the fly. We'll do the best we can. But other than that, let's get into it. Let's bring him on. I reckon he will be up here already. Let me get this. There he is. Boom. Too easy. Let's get him on. My office. Check out the office.
Man, what's happening? What's happening, brother?
How are you? Can you hear me good?
Good, man. Good. How's things? Good?
Yeah, good, brother. Good. Just finished training.
Yeah, same, man. Long day in the office.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Another session done, man. Another session done.
This is my spare room / office. Boys in the corner, my training gear over there. It's a bit of a mess, but I'm gonna do this room up there anyway.
With all the belts, brother. With all the belts.
Yeah, that's it. Got to exactly rack them all up there for sure, mate. How is the training been? I know guys.
It's been crazy, man. It's been crazy. The virus has obviously slowed everything down, but yeah, look, man, we're training away. The team's doing what we've got to do, and we're working towards our fight day, which is November 14 against Anthony Mundine. He truly believes he's going to knock me out. And, he's called me out for many, many months now. And he's convinced that he can make the best return in boxing history at 45 years old. So, I'm giving him that opportunity. There's no one really left for me in Australia. I've cleaned up my backyard. And, the only one that's left is Tim Tszyu. And that's in negotiations as well. My team and his team are talking. And, we need to silence him and his team. They talk too much.
Mate, busy man. So the Monday locked in. Is that
that's November 14. That's down at the Bendigo Stadium where I fought Jeff Horn and beat Jeff Horn.
I knew that was happening. I remember maybe we were happening. I was floor then Tszyu. Hey, now you got both.
Yeah. Man, I'm a busy man. Everyone wants a slice. It's crazy, but
that's what we want.
For me, we want to knock out Tim Tszyu. I truly believe we can beat him. He hasn't done the things I've done. He talks about him beating Jeff Horn, and credit to him. He fought and beat Jeff Horn, but I did the same thing. I knocked him out in 9 rounds also, and he hasn't done things I've done. I've been overseas. I fought Cal Brooks, went 12 rounds with Cal Brooks. I fought Peter Quillen, the world champion, the Russian world champion. I've been all around the world, and I'm still at number 7 in the WBA in the world and top 10 in the world. So, for me, I'm only 28 years old, and he calls himself the best in Australia, but he's got to prove that before he calls himself that. You know what I mean? And he had a 4-fight plan that he put together, and I was in that 4-fight plan. And I always say, he's fought 3 out of the 4 and ducked me. So for me, it's a little bit ironic that he keeps ducking me, but he's a smart man because I wouldn't want to fight me either.
Well, that's what I wanted. What did you think of that? Obviously, that was quite while all this. What do you think of
Man, it was, look, to be honest, I was interested, and the lead up to the fight was the most boring thing I've ever seen. I had people saying bring Zerafa back, so that was a positive. But the actual fight in itself was pretty ordinary. It was just real plain. That was not the same Jeff Horn that I rocked up and fought. And even Tim Tszyu, people are saying this and that about him, but he's getting these opportunities because of his last name, and people do forget that. And I take nothing away from him. He's got everything in the artillery to be a world champion. He's got a great team behind him and whatnot. And you can't diss anybody that gets in the ring. But I'm also in the same job and chasing the same dream. And you can't compare the things that I've done, the things that he's done. And that's why he's been running his mouth, calling me out, and that's why I want to silence him and the critics. Because of his last name, Tszyu. So for me, it's a fight that needs to happen. But overall, the fight in itself wasn't world class.
Yeah, man, that's something I want to watch as well. That's it. I love my boxing as well. So I've always loved martial arts. I got into MMA, but I've always loved boxing. So I always keep an eye on the boxing. And straight after that fight, we had him, but I was straight away. I'm like, I want to see you and Tim does. That's got to happen. But I mean, again, I heard like of mundane happening. I wasn't sure, but that is happening now. Where'd you say that was again?
Well, that's at Bendigo Stadium. That's where I fought Jeff Horn. Bendigo is a huge. That's where they do like the NBL and all that, the basketball and stuff like that. So it's an awesome stadium that's just opened up. So yeah, so it's good. It's in my backyard. I've got great previous fights there. I've beat Jeff Horn there. And, I'll knock out Mundine there. So and they're getting behind me and the team, and they're investing in us, and they want me to be the face of Melbourne and boxing, because obviously Sydney's getting behind Zoo and in the boxing world, that is anyway. So I'm grateful for that. And but Mundine, like I said, he's called me out. He said that I motivate him, and he reckons he can knock me out. He said that styles make fights, and his style can beat me. And who am I to say that he can't? So I'm giving him an opportunity. I never duck anybody. You being a fighter, exactly the stuff. You give everyone an opportunity, like they gave me an opportunity when I was starting out. I'm giving him an opportunity. I'm highly world ranked, and it's his chance to be back, and fighting these guys. So for me, it's I fight whoever's in front of me. Win, lose or draw, I give my absolute all.
Beautiful, mate. I can't wait. That's what I mean. I've got my own, mate. I love what
Yes.
I've had a boxing fight before.
You've never had one, or you have had one?
I've had one. Yeah, I had one.
Well, that was one of my questions. So a fan asked me. He said, have you had any boxing fights? Would you transition to any other fighting sport, whether it be boxing, kickboxing?
Mate, I've always, like I said, I love all martial arts, but I've always loved boxing. Even growing up, I was always a bit of boxing. Again, I trained a bit of boxing. And obviously, it's a whole different kettle of boxing. Definitely something that once the UFC's done, like building something up, back home in Australia, I'd love it, because the reason why I had my boxing fight is because I was struggling to find opponents. This is when I was trying to get in the UFC, and I was fighting everyone, and I was really struggling to get opponents in Australia. So I ended up I had a fighter pull out like a week before, and I was just like, give me a boxing match, give me something. I want to fight. So they did that, but I had to fight professional boxing. And again, straight away, this, hey, dude. Yeah, so at the start, like straight away, guys were just, yep. And I had matched up straight away. I'm like, all right, cool. But then they were out. And then I ended up getting someone. So he had fights. I forget I'm having a brain fart. His dad was in the boxing, like obviously in the national title scene and that. But it was good. It was tough. Mate, I landed some big shots.
Just kept coming forward.
Got me a good body rip, actually. I remember the body. So that was
mate,
good.
I don't know how you do what you do now, mate. I watched the last fight, and crazy, absolute crazy, mate. The things you guys do, it's you put your body through some crazy stuff, man. Boxing, I know it's a little bit longer. I mean, you fight 12 3-minute rounds, and mentally it's probably that little bit, longer, and it's probably puts a little bit more pressure on you. But throwing kicks, elbows, you got to, we're ducking punches. You guys are ducking kicks and all sorts. So, mate, huge credit to you. And like I said, you've outdone, a lot of people in the sport. People that thought you couldn't do it, mate. You shut everybody up, and you went out there and mate, you're the world champion. You're the man.
I wanted to ask you if you watch much MMA. Do you watch it, or how? Just obviously we want to support each other. I'm always trying to support Australia. I'm always trying to support, obviously, the side of the world, Australia. I'm always trying to back our athletes. Is that why you get in MMA, or you actually don't mind watching a bit of MMA?
Look, I don't mind like the big fights, obviously like your Conor McGregor's, your Adesanya's and all that, but obviously because of yourself, another Aussie, was chasing the dream, and I read up on your background and what you were doing before that, and your journey, and it was just great to see that someone chased a dream, and like I said, I'm doing the same thing, and you proved everyone wrong, and you outdid it, and you did it. You grew, you won the world title, and you not only you took it off him, you defended it, and man, crazy. It's absolutely amazing. And a lot of people don't understand what's involved in the sport. People just see the lights, the cameras, the action. You know, they pay their 50, $60. They tune in, they watch it with their Coke and hot dog or their popcorn. But you know, it's the lead up. You know, the fighting part is the fun part. You know, that's all the hard work's done, and you go out there and show what you've been working on. And it's the lead up, all the sparring, the early mornings, the late nights, and mate, like I said, credit to you and the team.
Always on the grind. You say you like Adesanya, big fan. You gonna again?
100%. Yeah. So the big fights, I'll definitely tune in. And I love to watch the smack talk as well between the.
Who you got?
Oh man, the man himself, man, Adesanya. He's a dangerous man. You know what I mean? So I think he's gonna clean up.
Yeah, mate. I think that as well. I've been talking about it all day. Actually, I was on set for Fox, and I was just saying that people obviously people look at him and fruit, right? They see dude, but there's just obviously you hear it all the time and all that type of stuff. But even just styling, the way that Costa, he is a brute, and the way he coaches his ranges, that
he's a tough dude. He's a big dude too. He looks massive.
And the way he coaches that range, creep in and put rounds and short. I just find it very hard to come into that range. I'm thinking. I've got a few boys fighting. I've got Jake Matthews.
Yeah, he's from my area. Jake Matthews. I've obviously we went to a guest appearance at one stage, probably a few years back, and that's where I met him. And I'm following his career. He's fighting. I used to watch him when I was growing up. Is it Sanchez? Diego Sanchez?
Yeah, Sanchez.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? That the opportunity. And when I saw it, I had to look again because I was like, surely he's still not fighting. But man, he was a Guida when he fought that fight? Sanchez back in the days? Sanchez back in the days when he fought, is it Guida? The guy with the long hair, curly hair, that war they absolutely had.
Oh, yeah, my mate. Crazy war. He's just he's a dude.
So who you backing for that fight? Like for me, like I said, if you ask me, I'm just going off, who's got the bigger name. But I mean, Jake Matthews is a tough boy, and probably the fresher, the more youth, obviously. But
exactly,
experience. That guy's been in some wars. Sanchez's been into some wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah, look at this. Goer, he's going to go. He's crazy. But I think Jack's a closer kid. He's pretty well. He's well rounded.
He's strong. He's a strong dude, and he's big. Like even when I was with him, I'm a middleweight, but I'm a small middleweight. Overseas, and he's the size of those guys. He's a big dude compared to myself, but
he's athletic, and I think that's going to go a long way with this fight. Obviously, just with man, Diego's been in wars.
I'm reading some of these comments. It's got bad connection. We've got some bad connection, I think.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, it's cutting in and out.
What about now? You got me?
Yeah, in and out still. That's all right. I'll make out what you're saying. Don't worry. I can do it all, brother.
What about, do you know we've, so I'm asking all the questions. I've got questions here that I want to ask you, but I'm asking myself.
That's all right. Okay, nice, mate. I've got a few for yourself as well.
With this, obviously your fight coming up, do you know if there's going to be crowds involved? We're allowed crowds, aren't we? Or do you know?
Well, at the moment, obviously, I think the venue holds about 8,000 people. And because of the social distancing and whatnot, Melbourne's copped it pretty bad. So I think we're allowed about 3,000 people at the moment. But it's like I said, we're still 8 weeks away, and it looks like it's getting better. I think today we only had like 14, a handful of deaths and cases. So which it's getting better. It's more positive each day, which is great. And I'm praying that we can have a full crowd. It'll be televised on Epicenter and all that stuff as well. Hopefully Fox Sports get behind it and whatnot. But yeah, man, I'm praying that we can have everyone down there, and I'll get you ringside. You and the family come down, and I'd love to have you ringside, brother.
I would love to be there. There's some crowd, because there is something different about the no crowd. So if I could, I don't know
how you did it, mate. I was watching that live, and I was like, mate, for me, it would have felt like a sparring session. It would have just been like, you've got to be switched on, but you've got no, the crowd picks you up. People don't understand, when you're in there, even just when they're announcing your name, the crowd lift up, and you get that buzz that, you feel the thunder in the stadium, and that's what you want. But when you went out there, I was like, man, this is nuts. I don't know, mate, credit to you, because I couldn't have done it.
I always say I'm usually really good. Can you still hear clear again? Do I have my reception?
It's in and out, Pastor. I'm picking up.
I'm seeing people sit there and say, "Oh, reading like he's doing what he's lip reading." They're saying stuff like that. I must be cutting out.
That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to read your lips.
But that's one thing that was for me. I'm usually really good at keeping myself composed and level. But I mean, the fact that I tried to do the same crowd, I was just way under. Like I just
Yeah. Oh, so it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference.
like I got out of bed and I was in the octagon. I was way too calm. It was
Yeah.
fucking weird. So
Mate, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you got the W, and you know
got
you see some of the haters and whatnot, and you know, it
But
makes
they
me.
got the haters anyway, so that's
Oh, mate, they're just fans. They're just fans in denial. You know, that's all it is. You know, they got to give a fighter no credit, and say some of the things that they say. You know, I'm reading some of the comments now just as it's strolling, and mate, it's actually crazy. But the fact that you went out there and did it, and like I said, not only you took it off you defended it, and not many people can do that, man. You know what I mean? And I'm not there. I'm nearly there. I mean, I'm getting more opportunities in the next 12 months. I'll have my crack. But to do what you did, mate, is unbelievable. And you got me more into the sport. And not only that, people will understand. You know, you're not just a fighter, you're a family man as well. And you know what I mean. And you're not just a champion in the ring, you're a champion out the ring, and that's what it's all about. You know what I mean. And I'm doing that now. It's all about giving back and just trying to put people on the same path you're on. You know what I mean. And that's what people don't understand, and it does frustrate me a little bit sometimes reading some of these comments. But I mean, without them, we wouldn't.
I appreciate that, Dad.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But without some of these haters, you know what I mean, it wouldn't put the fire in the belly and make us push even harder. And even leading into my first Jeff Horn fight, I had so many people against me, and I went out there and knocked him out. And then I had the same people saying, "Look, I apologise because I was a little bit harsh leading into the fight. I didn't think that you could beat him, and this and that, and you proved me wrong." So. You get your haters that do come around, but there's a lot of guys that give you a little bit of backlash, which is disappointing.
I've had a couple come around. I've had a couple, but I got a heap still hanging around as well. So
that's all right, mate. Just keep killing them with success. That's the best way to do.
Mate, that's it. Like, let's get into some of these questions. I know you pulled some of the questions aside. I might even if you got some
from a fan. So one fan wants to know. Do you have any rest days? During the training camps and stuff? What's your rest days? What do you consist of?
Well, mate, my fight camp actually changed up. I end up training all 7 days, but because rest is important. But I end up having because the reason why we train on the Sunday, usually I have my Sunday off, but I train on the Sundays because Sunday is the day we fight. So we fight.
Yeah.
When you watch UFC, it's on the Sunday. So we train on the exact time that we fight.
Yep.
So we have to do that. So we have like 3 half days in a row. So that's our rest. So we still obviously we get stuck into it hard, but you need that balance. You need rest. You need to recover, especially for them last 3 days. We get stuck into it. So we have the 3 days off. What about you?
For me, look, I train every day, 2-3 times a day. But on Sundays, I sleep in. I get my quality sleep because some days during the week I'm up earlier than others, and I have broken sleep. But on my Sundays, I'll sleep in, get a full 8 to 10 hours sleep, and then I'll just do my long road work and just my core, some light strength and conditioning. And I try not to be in the gym. It's my one day that I don't want to be in the boxing gym. I just want to be with my team on a track or just on a treadie in even another gym, just in another environment, another atmosphere, and just try to enjoy it. But I train 7 days a week as well. It's a lifestyle for me now, and it would be for yourself. People having rest days, I go insane. I start scratching my head and I start doing the gardening. I'm doing all kinds of things, trying to look for stuff to do. I start building, and so I just keep it a nice light, not intense on the body, but just a nice cruisy. It might be a 10K run and some ab workouts or something like that, just to finish off the week to start a solid week.
Right, nice. I'm just because obviously I told everyone that we'll get some questions from people commenting as we're going as well. So I've got one from Trav here. Is it Trav Demon? I think it is. How strict's our diet? He's asking how strict our diet is. So what about fight camp? So when we're talking fight camp, for me, you'd be surprised. Obviously, we eat clean, but I eat a fair bit because some of the sessions we do a few sessions and the calories are burned I need to have the energy. So you'll be surprised at how much I eat. It's obviously all clean, so I definitely am strict, but you'll be surprised with how much I eat. So the carbs, from what I used to, when I used to diet, because I didn't have the knowledge, but now I've got nutritionists on board and whatnot. So it's changed. Where I used to eat next to nothing. I would eat what a female would eat, not training. You know what I mean? Like I don't mean that in a, like literally. Like I remember the wife had a diet. Was on this diet, so it was like no carbs, and I used to do that leading to fights. So that was tough, and that's when you start getting sick. Like I start getting like staph infections and you name it, man. Like,
Yeah. Crazy.
now it's all about the battle. Like now you gotta have the meals. We have plenty of carbs before session. Yeah. What about you? Is that the same or?
For me, look, that's probably, in all honesty, probably where I lack the most. Everyone knows that and follows my career that my work ethic is I'll never take a shortcut. But my diet, I mean, I have a chef that cooks for me now, preps all my food. But for me, I just don't get hungry, and I'm only having one meal a day, and I'm a huge sweet tooth, and everyone close to me knows that I'm a huge sweet tooth, and we burn in 3,000-4,000 calories a day. In the gym 5-6 hours a day. So to get that through, chicken and veg, it's just too much food to consume. So for me, look, I have my big healthy meal at night time after my training sessions. Throughout the day, I'm drinking obviously my BCAAs, I have teas and water and keeping hydrated. But I have my one big meal at the end of my day, and that may consist of 1,500 calories. And then I'll just sit on the couch and unwind. I'll have the recovery, get a massage and whatnot. I'll just snack on some chocolate, get my carbs and calories in that way because. I'm still young. I think maybe I still love my sugar, but
I'm the same.
As I'm getting older, my body, I don't bounce back as quickly. I'm 28 now, turning 29, and my diet and everything, my metabolism slowed down that little bit, and it's getting a little bit harder. So I do things a lot smarter now, and I'm trying to incorporate more meals and less chocolate. But I definitely bend the rules a little bit.
Yeah, man, I'm hearing you. Well, I've got another one here from the Liam Summit. So I want to give him a shout as well. But I'm gonna butcher some of these names. I guarantee you. I'm gonna butcher these names. But what is this? Like, how do we sleep for a fight? How do you sleep for a fight?
For me, I just like to be around my family, my friends. Obviously we weigh in 24 hours. And I just go out afterwards. I get a good feed. I sit with the team for a good 2-3 hours. I try to tire myself out by just being around people. Keeping busy, and obviously fueling up because we've obviously had the weight cut, and I'll just watch a movie, and I try not to change too much. Like if you were sparring, or I've had harder spars and I've had some fights. You know what I mean, and nothing changes. You know what I mean. I'll go home, I'll eat, I'll spend time with my friends, my family. I'll watch a movie, and I'll just fall asleep, zone out, and then in the morning I just again have a big breakfast, have a nice lighter lunch, and then I just surround myself around my team, and I try not to sleep I definitely don't sleep during fight day. I don't want to be feel tired and lethargic, so I just try to be around good people, stay active, and try to keep my routine the same. What about yourself?
Do you sleep? I sleep pretty good. Usually I sleep pretty good as long as I don't have your SADA knocking on my door while I'm a fucking.
I've had a few of those, mate. I've had a few of those. Vada, Sada, they all come and knocking at 2 a.m, crazy times knocking.
So they've done that to you fight night?
Yeah, it depends on what title we're fighting for. If it's for any interim world titles, or if it's for any regional titles, or any kind of, if there's any belt being put on the line, they'll rock up before training.
And wake you up. If they wake you up.
Whatever time. Whatever time they want. If they're up and they say, you know what, it's 1 a.m, let's knock on Zerafa's door and let's give them a test. So be it. I've been lucky. I mean, say they've done them, prior to fights and after fights. But in America, obviously because of the jet lag and the time difference, I wanted to sleep, and these blokes are knocking on my door pretty early. So it's not nice.
That's what I mean. It's a stitch up, man. I'm telling you, some of them are stitched up. What time we're going to sleep? My coach was fuming. So
that's what I mean. It's the worst.
I was obviously upset myself, but then I'm not too bad. I'm not young, but my coach, I felt embarrassed. I had to hide while my coach was abusing.
That's all right. The coach got your best interest, mate. That's what you want.
Yeah, but I couldn't believe it. I'm like, it literally woke me up the night before my fight, and I was just thinking, this is the fucking stitch up for sure. Couldn't fucking.
Well, I've got a question here. What made you want to be a fighter? What inspired you? What made you want to?
Mate, I don't know if it's always been in my blood or whatever it is, but I've always always been, I don't know, no matter what it was.
Yeah,
Even whatever, like, I've always fucking loved it. I was in the dream about fighting in rings and fighting in cages or whatnot before I started. It's always been it was just a passion of mine. You know, even though I pride myself on being a nice dude, but obviously when I was younger, I was the type of person I'd try to stay away from fights. I wouldn't start them, but I happened to finish them quite a bit. So I've always been able to throw them. I always do. I'll do all right, but you know, I know it's just something that's always happened. What about you, man? Have you in your family?
For me, ever since I was a little kid, you know, 7, 8 years old, you know, my parents and family were all into martial arts, kung fu, and I steered away from it. It just didn't really interest me much. And I said I want to be a boxer. I want to be a world champion. I used to always chuck on movies, watch fights, and I was just like, I can beat these guys. I can beat these guys. You know, and I was like, yeah, cool. And I just knowing I could have that one fight and change, you know, my friends, my family, everyone's life. You know, really motivated me. You know, growing up was always tough, and you know, we didn't live the best life growing up, you know, but you know, I've got brothers and sisters and stuff like that, so my parents tried to do and give the best life possible, but, you know, I wanted to give a better life for my family and, you know, everyone that was close to me. So I always had it in me. I always said, you know, the dedication, I was always happy to get up early, stay up late, and, you know, if anyone did 10, I'd do 20. You know, I was never afraid of hard work, and to this day, everyone that knows me knows that I'll outwork everybody. You know, people might be better skilled and do more and eat cleaner, but I guarantee you know, when it comes to that last round, that 12th round, it'll be my first round. I'm fresh, you know, and if you beat me, mate, God's definitely on your side that day.
Yeah, man, that's unreal, mate. I'm hearing that's me. You know, that's something that I pride myself on. Can you still hear me? Okay, I'm hearing people saying my connection's bad. Is it still?
Yeah, in and out. I'm just making do with what you're saying, but I'm all right, as long as you can hear me.
My voice? Is it my voice or is it the
video? So you were talking and then it just cuts out. I'm just like, sweet.
Oh, you start. Oh, start. I'm gonna be 2 seconds. I'm gonna get my earphones.
Take your time. I'll read some of these comments.
I'm back.
You're back. How quick.
I didn't expect you to see me in my boxer shorts. But anyway.
It's all right, mate.
Here we go. Let's see if this works. What is before? How are we there?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, not cutting out. So far, so good.
Far out. Sorry, guys. See, everyone was abusing me about my connection. Sorry about that.
Oh, good. You're back. I can hear you now.
We're back. So anyway, well, you got any more questions? I'm going to start looking at some what people are going as well.
Yeah, I've got another one here. The best and worst thing about being a fighter.
The best and worst thing about being a fighter. The best thing, man, like, I love everything about, like, even though the ups and downs is a roller coaster, right? The highs and lows. So that's what makes the sport good as well. But I mean, obviously, you know, man, the whole process of fighting in boxing, I think any martial arts, you got injuries, you got people that'll pull out of fights, but then you got these crazy wins, and you know, like, it's just this. I don't know. I believe the highs and lows is what makes me love it so much as well. Obviously, you know, we don't like the lows as it's happening, but it just makes the highs even better. Exactly. But I mean, you know, just injuries absolutely suck. I cannot stand injuries. You know, that's actually one question I wanted to ask you as well, but I'll ask that as soon as we're done with this question. But injuries, and then obviously, mate, winning them big fights, and you know, bringing a belt back home to the family, or bringing a win back home to your team, your Australia. You know what I mean? Your family fucking means the world. So,
100%.
What about you?
For me, yeah, the same thing, man. There's no better feeling than, you know, putting all the hard work in the gym, and you know, you hit absolute rock bottom some days. You know, some days like you say to yourself, I want to throw it all in, and I think that's what makes you respect and push even harder. And then, you know, when you get those big fights and you come out on top, you know, it just makes it so much sweeter. And you don't even think about all the hard. Like when I beat Jeff Horn, for example, you don't even think about all the early mornings, the late nights, all the the crying and all the tough times, literally the blood, sweat, and tears, and that's what I say. For me, people, some people say, I'm the new mundane on the block and I'm arrogant, this and that. But for me, I there's other ways to make money and stuff. This is just a passion. This is I love, and I want to fight the best fights, and that's why I'm always vocal, and I always want to be heard, and I want to test my ability, and I truly believe that I'm the best in my country, and that's why I do this sport. You know what I mean? But definitely the highs is when you get your hand raised, man. There's no better feeling in the world. Obviously, you know what that feels like, but there's no feeling in the world that can match it for me, anyway.
Yeah, man. That's what I love about it. For me, people, obviously it's just us in there, but there's so many people that take time and commit to your camp, and there's a lot of people putting a lot of hard work in there. So it is still a team sport. You're still doing it again. You got your fans back home, your family, like whatever it is. You got Australian, everything. There's so much more. So that's what makes the win so much bigger. But injuries. I was talking about injuries. I wanted to ask you about, like, what's the biggest injury you've had, maybe close to a fight, during a fight, that you had to sort of get through? Have you had any, or you been lucky with that? Or?
Look, for me, I honestly, I've been super lucky. I mean, I've got a really strong team, and I put it down to that. And for me, I think the worst injury is a cut, a broken nose. I broke my hand in one of my fights, but that's pretty much it, man. I've never even had shin splints. I've never had any rolled ankles. I mean, so I've been super lucky in that aspect. But I think the worst injury I had was when I fought Cal Brooks. I had about 15 to 20 stitches throughout my face, and I broke my nose.
Okay.
But that's pretty much it, man. Besides that, I've been super lucky. What about yourself? I'm sure. I think I've seen you break your toe or something the other day.
Oh yeah, broke my toe, but it's not too bad. Like I said, I'm probably back into it quicker than I probably should. I don't know. It's weird. I don't think I need to worry about it. I'm getting a couple of mixed messages. I've got a good team around me as well, so they just want me to let it settle down a little bit. But at the same time, we didn't have to worry about it. The bone, like putting the bone back together or anything like that. No surgery or anything like that, which is good. But I've one thing that reminded me on the weekend when Tyron Woodley, because he fought on the weekend and he broke his rib during the fight, and that's what stopped his fight. And I've torn my intercostal muscle like 2 days before my fight. And tearing is like tearing a rib cartilage and all that. Like, mate, I've been told it's like, breaking a rib or tearing your intercostal, tearing your rib cartilage. Not like a sprain, like an actual tear and ripping the
He did a full
intercostal.
job on it.
So it fucking hurts, mate. It was painful. I remember, and we can't have no cortisone shots or anything like that because,
of course, yeah.
if they did, it would have been in the muscle and they wouldn't have allowed me to fight. So I'm like, well, I can't have that. So I had to fight like 2 days after. I couldn't train. I remember the warm up leading into my fight. Before I couldn't even throw my right hand yet because it was taking the wind out of me still. And I'm like, fucking hell, this is gonna be a long night.
It's all happening.
But I mean, I remember throwing I went to throw a right hand and it took the wind out. I was like, shit. And then after that, I sort of didn't feel it. It was on my mind the whole time, but I didn't have to feel it. So that was very stressful for me because, again, I was away from my family for so long in preparation for it.
Of course,
so it was killing me to think that I might not be fighting. And, back then, obviously struggling with the money I needed to fight. I took so much time away, spent so much money in camp. And I was just like, I'm not even going to be able to fight. I remember literally crying because I was thinking I'm not going to be able to fight. And then I had to stop crying because it was hurting my rib so much. So I was like sitting there, thinking, man, I can't even fucking cry. What's going on here? So it was a blast. It was a pretty crazy experience. But I ended up getting the win anyway. So that made that win even bigger. So that's what I mean. You get these crazy lows.
Yeah.
But then
And that's what no one sees. No one sees that.
Makes it bigger.
100%. That's why no one sees that. No one sees what goes on behind the scenes. I've had like I said, I've never had the injuries of your level. But I've had little injuries here and there, and no one sees that. And that's why, like I said, a huge credit to you and the team, man, because to push past through something like that. I've had a broken hand and I had to fight on with that, and that was the worst thing I've ever had to go through. So I couldn't even imagine how you're going through tears everywhere and broken bones. So, man, huge.
Well, in saying that, with boxing, hand, you know what I mean? You don't have many other tools to use, so
Well,
that
that's
would be
exactly
pretty.
right. Yeah,
That'd be pretty difficult.
in the third round, I hit him on the top of the head. He ducked his head, and it just busted open. I went back to the corner, and it just felt like there was a blowtorch in my glove. And you know, my trainer's like, mate, you know, double up and bowl that right hand. And in my head, I'm like, my hand's on fire, mate. I can't throw anything. But I ended up getting the win. I ended up hurting him, and just I closed my eyes and bowled that hand over, and it landed. Thank God. And the fight was all over, and I got the W, which was just good. And I ended up having to go straight to hospital with my hand. I had to cut the glove off my hand. So
What? So you landed like, with the broken hand? You landed that
yeah,
shot?
yeah. So it was my right hand. So I was just literally using my jab and trying to just lead with the jab and throw rips and whatnot. And my trainer was saying, mate, you got that overhand right there all day. And I seen it. I just couldn't throw it because obviously I was in so much pain. And
Boom.
around 5 or something, I closed my eyes. I said, you know what, I'm going for broke here. I bowled it over. It landed. I said, thank God. And you know, I literally had to cut the glove off because it was so swollen. And I went straight to the hospital. But besides that, I've had probably about 150, 200 stitches in my face. So I get cut open pretty bad.
Damn. Yeah.
I've got some nasty scar tissue everywhere. But besides that, yeah, not many injuries. I'm lucky. I'm still pretty.
Man, yeah, that's it. The pretty boy. I love it.
Mate, I tried to shake that off when I was younger. I tried to shake that name off, but it just stuck.
Oh, you don't like? I like it. I like it.
Oh, mate, it would be alright if I had looks on my side, but unfortunately,
mate, you still got it, mate. You still got it. Don't worry about that.
What about
people being like, "Where's your beard gone?" I don't think they like me without my hair on my face.
Mate, it looks fresh. It looks fresh. I'm reading comments now. They're saying, "Will there be a Volks Holloway 3?
Will there be a Volk Holloway 3? So, mate, like obviously not right now. That'd just be stupid. But I think, man, I still think that could be a big fight later down the track, especially if he can have a couple of fights win. I think a trilogy could still be huge. So, I mean, that's what I'm sort of all about at the moment. Right now, obviously, a third fight just does not make sense. But, you know, in a couple of fights, you know, I want the biggest fights as well. So if I, you know, take these guys out and there's no one else and Holloway's just took everyone else out, that makes for a big trilogy fight, and I'm all for it. And there's a guy here saying, Alex with the fingers. What is he? Little bitch. Loot him. Yeah, so you can.
That's the best. That's what I mean. Like some of these guys, I read some of the comments and I wake up at 2 a.m. with all these guys sending messages and you know, Timmy will go. Well, that's what I said. You know, I look in the thing and look, I'm all for everyone's opinion. Everyone, you don't have to follow my career. And you know, like I said, I want to put a fight for the boxing fans. You know, I mean, every fight I've been in, you know, all the promoters around the world, Eddie Hearn, you know, all these big promoters have all said, you know, Zerafa, when he comes to fight, he puts on a show, and that's all I want to do. You know, I want to test my ability, and I want to fight these guys. You know, and I wake up at 2 a.m. with Tim Tszyu's going to knock you out. I said, mate, where do you get this information from? You know what I mean? Tim Tszyu's best win was Jeff Horn, which I've done. You know, Jeff Horn retired in round 9. I knocked him out. I had him cut. He's had 2 plastic surgery operations with me. I've battled him. The only reason why Tim Tszyu won that fight is because the 2 wars I gave him.
Yeah, but that's someone just asked about that. Brett, let me find it again. Brett Mason. What weight would Zerafa and Tszyu be at, Tim? What weight would that be at?
I'm naturally a junior middleweight. You know, I went up to middleweight because before Tim come out of the woodworks, I was dominating 69 the division, and you know, to get fights was hard, and to go overseas and fight, you know, the world class guys, it was just too hard at that division because obviously no one was fighting, and so I went up to middleweight, and I started dominating middleweight. I've campaigned there for a little bit now, and I'm highly world ranked there. So I'm just kicking back at middleweight for now. But as soon as the Horn Tszyu fight comes up, and the contract lands, we'll definitely drop down. It's only 2 kilos, 3 kilos. I can do that tonight.
That's one thing that I know. Like, mate, how many divisions there are, man, it's crazy. So we're only limited to a few. We need to get a few more. A lot of people are saying they want more divisions in the UFC. So, I had another some questions. I missed it. Where did it go? Oh yeah, there we go. So this one can work. So for you, what's your favorite ever boxing fight? And I'll answer my favorite ever UFC fight. So what's the best ever, like since when you were a kid, now, whatever? If it was one of your own or someone else's, obviously growing up.
For me, pretty much any fight that Roy Jones Jr. was in. You know, Roy Jones Jr. for me, whether he fought someone that wasn't as highly world class or the best fighter in the world, for me, Roy Jones was just the most exciting. just everything he did, you know. And I was lucky enough to have him ringside when I fought for the Commonwealth title. You know, he was ringside watching me fight, and that was one of the highlights of my career. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
for me, it'd definitely be Roy Jones Jr. Any
Mate,
fight that he
yeah,
was in.
man. 100%. Well, man, like I said, I'm a big fan of. I could answer that question too because I've got a plenty of favorite fights as well. But with UFC, I'll have to go with my favorite probably fight was probably Chuck Liddell and Wanderlei Silva because I was growing up. Chuck Liddell was one of my favorites, so I absolutely loved the bloke. And
That's
I
the
was like,
Mohawk
and then
thing, yeah.
yeah. So he was he's sort of got me into it, and like I started watching. He was big when I started getting into it, and I remember. So I was a massive fan, and then he had a couple of losses, and I was devastated. So I was a diehard fan where I was absolutely devastated that he was losing, and then he come back and fight, and this one was like a crazy fight, and like it was a good fight, back and forth. It was like they were dropping each other. It was a wild fight, so it was a fun fight, and not just that, it was a fight where I thought, yes, Chuck Liddell's back, you know what
He's
I mean?
got it. He's got it.
But then he ended up getting knocked out bad by Rashad Evans afterwards. And, mate, that shook me. That shook me.
Yeah,
I remember.
I remember seeing that. I remember seeing that fight actually. They always replay it on highlights and whatnot. I remember seeing that.
I remember when I used to concrete. I was concreting my brother. This was again. I was a diehard fan. So he ended up getting knocked out again. Remember, I thought he's back, but then that happened. Mate, I'm talking 2-3 days after it happened. I'm like standing on my shovel while I'm concreting, and my brother would see me just stop shoveling, shake my head in disbelief that Chuck Liddell got knocked out. Like,
He got knocked out. He's
mate,
just crushed all
that's
your
how much
dreams,
of it.
mate. That's the best.
Yeah, mate. The whole week I was devastated.
That's
the whole
gross.
week I was devastated, mate. Anyway, brother, I'm so glad we did this. This was good. We definitely got to do it again.
100%,
But
mate.
you know, I want to just before we do that, obviously we're gonna have guys again. Like, you know, we're supporting all these Australian athletes, supporting each other. So obviously I've got some of your boys come support the great, and some of my guys go support the pretty boy. Let's do it.
Same day, mate. Volkanovski, the king, mate. The absolute king.
You're a legend, mate. I appreciate you coming on. This was good. And I apologize to everyone for not wearing these at the start. I hope it ended up working
I'll
out.
get mine in next time, mate. Don't stress. You're an absolute legend, mate. And you and your family stay safe. And for all the fans and supporters out there, just want to say a huge thank you. And to all the haters, keep doing your thing.
Yeah, don't worry about them. And hey, I think you got a job in some lip reading too, mate. You did a good job there, so well done.
Mate, I tried. I tried, brother. I tried. Absolute legend, brother. You stay safe, and we'll be in touch.
All right, brother. Thank you. Legend.
Hey, brother. Ciao.
Peace. See ya.